Hi guys, it's me, Mr. Bertoch, your incredibly handsome science teacher. In this video, I am going to be talking about myself. First of all, thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I am going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about who I am as a teacher and as a former businessman, and my purpose in making myself available to teach you and your family science. And I'm not going to go through a lot or spend a lot of time, I should say, because I posted this on my website, which you can read or go to and see all about me and see more pictures of my handsomeliness at handsomescienceteacher.com. But very quickly, I began my career as a young man back in 1998. I founded an educational company, which ended up becoming very big. In fact, at the height of it, when I left, it was the largest education website on the internet. We had millions and millions of visitors and worked with school systems and governments all over the world. And it was doing really well and it was still growing. But back in 2012, I kind of had I don't know, I kind of felt called to go into teaching. Just weighed on my heart. I really wanted to work with students directly. And so I turned my company over to investors. I sold most of my ownership to investors who ultimately took my company apart. And that's another story that I won't talk about right now. But I went into the classroom and began teaching as a middle school science teacher. I have, incidentally, 3 degrees. 2 of them are in science. I have a bachelor's degree in earth science, which covers geology and atmospheric science and oceanography. I have a master's degree in biology, and I have another master's degree in curriculum design, which just means creating, or instructional design, which just means creating classes like the ones that I've created for this project. So I have taught middle school now for 10 years. And during that time, I have been privileged to be selected by my school district as a teacher of the year. I have trained numerous teachers, other teachers, to be more fun, to be more engaging. I like to do hands-on teaching. I don't think that science should be taught out of a textbook, and I don't use a textbook. I never have. Well, that's not true. I use a textbook in my classroom to level out my stream table and my Pinewood Derby track because I needed them on a slope. So I put the textbooks underneath them, and that made them slanted. But that's the only real useful thing I've ever found for textbooks. Science is fun and hands-on. Reading and writing are really important. Literacy is super important. And we do literacy in my class. I just don't use textbooks. So I'm not going to tell you we don't ever read, because we do. It's really important. But so are hands-on experiments and things like that. So fast forward 10 years. Over the last 10 years, I have loved being in the classroom. However, here at the end of 2021, when I am filming this, I once again feel a calling of sorts to change directions a little bit. There's a lot of change going on in education right now, and a lot of families are on the verge of, and many already have, pulling their kids out of public education for different reasons. There's a divide in our country and in the world, and it's very hard sometimes to because these are our children, right? Or your children. I have 7 children of my own, so I can appreciate that those concerns that you're sending your children somewhere and you don't exactly know who is teaching them. And they're in a classroom where you can't hear what's being taught. I've seen some of that myself as a teacher, where my children have sat in classes where things have been advocated that I didn't necessarily agree with. And so this trend of pulling your children out of public education and teaching them from home is unfolding. And I thought I could be a part of that because I think there's a lot of families out there who are going to need to hire a science teacher. And I'm not just a science teacher, I am a science teacher with 10 years of teaching experience. And my students have, at least unless they're lying to me, if they are lying fibberheads, but they've told me that they enjoy my classes. We've done things like build river, as I mentioned before, Pinewood Derby, rockets. I try to do something hands-on at least once a week, if not more frequently. But anyway, so here I am now, stepping out again, making a change in my life, making myself available to you and families like you. So I have developed is that 3 fingers? That's 4 fingers. There we go. I have developed 4 classes covering everything a middle schooler needs to know. And these classes are based on the standards, which I actually helped write back in my former days when I had a lot of influence in education before I left and everyone forgot who I was. I actually wrote a lot of the standards used both in the United States and around the world. I know the standards really well. So these 4 courses, this is hard to do in reverse. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. It's like a mirror image. Anyway, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th covers everything you need to know for your entire middle school curriculum. When you finish all 4 years, you will be a very knowledgeable scientist because that's the way I teach. I expect and I work really hard to help you learn the content, the cross-cutting concepts, and the science and engineering practices, which I'll talk about in another video and what those mean. I use mastery badges to teach. I'll talk about those in another video as well. Mostly in this video, I just wanted to talk about myself so you can see who I am. If you have any questions, reach out. My classes are taught live. I cut once a week in a live conference. I cover, or rather I provide everything that you need and that your student needs to stay busy for the entire week. And I also do videos like this one. So we will do a live conference for 45 minutes once a week. There is a live video for you to watch. And there are hands-on labs and literacy assignments and simulations and things to keep you busy in between. So, plan on half hour to an hour a day, and we will knock out your entire science education for a very reasonable price. Well, hello. Thank you for watching my one-take rambling science video where I talk a lot and try to do as few and usually no edits whatsoever. So you hear all my ums and my awkward pauses as I try to collect my thoughts into my head. If you like learning about science, do me a favor. I have classes that I teach over on outschool.com, and you can find out about these classes by going to my website, which is Handsome Science Teacher, because look at this face, handsomescienceteacher.com, where you can sign up and get access to not only these videos, because you already have access to those, right? They're free, but also access to packets that go along with them and live conferences with me, where I teach you and grade your work and we learn together. I have an entire science curriculum from 5th through 8th grade science. Also, you are welcome to, if you would like to subscribe to my channel. That helps me too, just because it gets the word out about me.